We are live. Oh, I don't know, Jersey. Oh, Jersey's here. Episode 7. We are back after about 4 weeks off. I had a vacation, so that's why I was gone. Jersey was still here. So my fault. Sorry about that. But the topic, starting topic of tonight, does this spring suck? Does it seem like this spring is kind of dull or not getting started? Or does the weather suck like where you are? Or are we totally wrong and your spring is going great? So, Jersey, you heard this from somebody, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
I did. Told me. I literally heard that on Thursday of last week, like the worst spring that they've ever had. And I'm like, I've not heard that from anybody else that everybody's having. That's why I figured we should ask, because people will tell us if it sucks or not. But I got to show you one thing. I want to start off. I know you like to start off right into the meat. You know, I did a TikTok, which, yes, I'm not at SteveO, but I literally did a TikTok, and my TikTok says, this is the best content creator ever, right? Yeah. And I'm trying to get you people to follow me. And look at the first comment that they wrote. Some dude came on and said, "You're not SteveO." It was literally the only comment on there for literally the first hour. It was amazing. I don't want to put that out there. I live in SteveO's shadows. All that happens.
Oh man, that's great.
Well,
dude, TikTok though, I do think at some point. Do you ever remember our conversation? We have this on a Nation episode, and this maybe had been. I think this was right before COVID, and I was like, man, TikTok, it's going to take off. And you were like, dude, I don't got time for TikTok. And you TikTok more than I TikTok.
I still don't have time for TikTok. I'm trying. I don't have, I had another in-office assistant, and she had to move back home, which is 2 hours away. So I have the double posting that was all happening is just dried up. You know,
you going to hire someone else?
It's so much content. It's just too much content is what it is.
It is. It gets to be a lot as far as how much content you have to create. Can you hear me?
I can, but you're super robot-y. I don't know if it's just me, or if anybody says, if SteveO sounds good, tell us in the comments. But
do I sound like a robot?
Yes.
Oh man, sounds fine to me. I don't know.
You know what it is though? It's just so much content that we were saying and then I was talking to our friends, Mr. T Squeegee, and he's like, nobody wants to see good things. Just put out crap posting or whatever, and just do weird dumb things.
Dude, what I think TikTok is all about is it's just about overly satisfying videos. I do not sound good to Jersey.
I took my headphones off. I can hear you perfect now. It was me.
Okay. Cool. But no, I think TikTok is what I really like about TikTok though, is that so many people have gotten big on TikTok other than any other platform. YouTube's algorithm really hides people really bad. And that's the cool thing about TikTok is that a lot of people can put content out there and it's fun. That's the cool thing about TikTok. It's quick, it's fast. You just scroll through it. It's addicting. You can get on there. You can be on there for hours, where YouTube is not really like that anymore. So
yeah, that's the one thing that I have to say is pretty cool, is that all my dumb ideas and my things that I think are funny, I can do on TikTok, and people are like, great. And then every 3 weeks post a real thing, where when you do Nation or anything else, you're like, well, today we're going to help you. Let's talk. And then you can do dumb things, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. TikTok likes dumb stuff. That's what it likes. That's what it is. Then there's people, there's I think one of the biggest window cleaners is that guy that just does the words in the soap. I think he's probably the most followed. And there's a guy in Montana, Isaac, and he's probably the most followed in the US as a window cleaner. He creates awesome content on there, and it's becoming, I do think at some point YouTube's really going to lose its YouTube 100%. Is mainly for learning. If you want to learn something, YouTube is there for it. Or if you want to watch something about sporting or something like that, it's great. But yeah,
they're gonna take such a hit. We're literally living the Netflix blockbuster debacle from way back when. You don't see it quite yet, but it absolutely will, because this like TikTok, I mean, it's most of it's nonsense. The only thing I don't like, they say that the algorithm, like every time I say this, people make fun of me, but they say the algorithm is like really good and blah, blah, blah. Well, it's not quite, because like my buddy will send me something. It'll be some dumb, like, guy that hits himself in the face with like a golf club or something. And then all of a sudden TikTok thinks I like self-harm videos, and it'll be just like people in car accidents. I'm like, what is going on?
I think the one thing that gets me, and this is probably pretty gross, but zip popping.
Oh my gosh, that's my wife. It's all that stuff.
If you watch a couple and you watch them all the way through, boom, zip popping all night long, man. No. And then it gets just kind of gross, and I gotta take a break from it.
Yeah, I want like window cleaning videos because I like stuff, and then I also duet stuff and do stupid whatever. And then all of a sudden, I'll like notice that I haven't seen a window cleaning video in like 10 minutes of going through stuff. I'm like, well, all right.
Well, yeah. I mean, and for us though, like, we talk to so many people about window cleaning that sometimes when I'm scrolling through it and I see a bunch of window cleaning, I'm like, oh man, like I just want to get away from it for a little bit. Like, just got to get away. Hey, Jersey, this is a request for WCR. Victor Garul would like if we could come up with some different stickers. He has 20 of the same red WCR stickers. So look what Jersey has, sticker packs.
Not those ones. All the ones behind me. These are ones that I've already used, but yeah.
Now, you sell those just as like sticker packs, so you don't have to get a subscription if you don't want to.
Yeah, yeah. There's actually a sticker club too, which a ton of people have just to get stickers. Just because they're like all like window cleaning stickers, like the Pulp Fiction with Squeegee's sticker, like weird stuff that you get to build a culture around. So it's fun.
It's a thing, man. Stickers all over the buckets. Like, I should probably come out with some stickers, and I don't. I came out with stickers once. Oh yeah, 2 clips and 1 clip, all the time.
It's weird. People have requested that they don't get a two clip sticker at all. They said it's stupid.
Oh no one's ever done that. Never done that.
So good.
So our question though really is though, like for me, my spring has been. Now I work 2 days a week on glass now and some Saturdays. So like I'm booked up till June as far as that goes, but I have gotten tons of calls and I pass a lot of business on to local window cleaners as well. But question for all you guys in the comments is, how is your season going? I know there's areas where it's always busy, it's always warm. So I know there's areas like that, but you all that are in, the north, that the season pops off during the spring, is it getting busy? Just kind of wondering, kind of a pool of it.
I'm a huge numbers nerd, and I want to know numbers. If any of you out there are smart enough to know your numbers, tell me what your percentage is year to date growth over last year in the same exact time. I'm a numbers nerd because numbers don't lie. Like we could look at something and be like, dude, yesterday was a killer day here at WCR. And then you look at the thing and you're like, well, that wasn't what I quite thought it was. But those things, and it's like, well, if you look at the numbers don't really lie. As much as people hate numbers, they just don't lie.
Well, the funny thing is that a lot of people talk about the gross number. They never really talk about net, which is like a very interesting thing. There's always like that, like
gross what's for you? Yeah, gross is like if I'm like gonna unzip my pants, that's for everybody to see, right? But like nobody shows their real. Like gross is for everybody, net is for you. Like no one ever's like, dude, I netted 13,000 last year. Like,
I was always huge, man, on the net. That's it. That's all I ever shared. The net. Gross didn't matter, man.
It does and it doesn't, because gross is like a cool, because obviously it costs money to get to a certain point. But here's the truth, and a lot of guys who are smaller don't really see this part, but when you get to a certain point, if you owned an elephant, it's going to cost you a lot of money to feed the elephant just to keep it from dying. Like that's a business. Like if you have a hamster, you can give it 1 carrot every 2 days and you're fine, right? But when you have a big company, you have to feed it more. So that means you're spending so much more on advertising. And our numbers, our advertising numbers just for WCR is like staggering sometimes. You're like, that's the same thing on the other side. You start getting into these companies who are doing $500,000, $1 million. Well, it's not just $1 million of you just like, making money. It's like $1 million and, $50,000, a month is going into advertising to keep that fed.
I hear you. I have to acknowledge Jacob. He's asking for acknowledgement.
Yes.
Thank you, Jacob, for notifying me when we were 2 minutes late. I appreciate that. You keeping on top of it. I appreciate it. I'm busy as I want to be. I only want 20 to 25 hours solo. Chris Simmons.
Yeah.
I feel you. Being solo, I love being solo. It's the best.
Dude, if you're making money and you're like completely happy where you are making that money in 20, 25 hours, think about how much freedom the dude's got, like there's no stress the other times, I mean, yeah, everybody's got stress, but like we all get into business because of the freedom, but then we really get into business because of the money.
Now, here's a good question. This is actually a really good question because of how much inflation has gone up this year. Has everybody risen? Like, I know we talked about this, I think, maybe like episode 3 or episode 4, is everybody raising their prices. That's one big thing that I did for sure this year. Like, and I also took away like routes that were even far away. I only have one route that's far away that's really good that I won't take away. Yeah. But that's the thing I did this year was like, I upped all my residential prices by a good 20%. And I'm just like, gotta do it,
That's one thing that people always talk so much crap. When I say anything about raising prices, they're like, oh, you're just trying to be so big, you're just going to kill the market. But that's not it. Like, you have to raise prices at a certain point. When what is it, 8% inflation, if you don't raise your prices, you just took an 8% decrease over last year.
Right. Yeah. Well, there's even like the little things of like, not even anything to do with window cleaning, but like, have you noticed this when you buy groceries or do you have a dog?
Yeah.
So when you buy dog food now, the dog food, if you buy the same bag and you actually look at the poundage of the bag, the poundage is less, but you're being charged the same price.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Everybody has to do it.
Yeah.
It just, it's the same thing. Gas, everybody goes, well, gas is more expensive, but it's only X amount. Or everybody be like, well, yeah, but I'm only getting charged an extra $100 a week. Okay. I understand that, but understand that everything, like you're paying $4 a rubber now for some squeegees, So like, yeah. That's everything. Everything's more money.
Now Tim asked, what percentage rubbers going up this year? Do you know if there's going to be a rubber increase in price, Josh?
Dude, there's like 2 big things that are going towards rubber right now. There's a rubber shortage, if you didn't know. And there is this inflation thing, which is cost of goods and natural or raw goods. So they're getting hit with increase in labor costs, and they're getting hit with raw goods, and they're having a shortage. So I don't know that it will happen this year, but everything's going up. I mean, Black Diamond's still cheap, but like I said, there's some rubbers. You look at it, you start working it out, and it's like $4 or $5 a rubber now.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest items that I've seen increase over this just year alone is the stack ladders. Of the material of what that made out of. That has increased by 20% at least from what it was maybe in November, December. And that's nothing to do with us as like WCR. That's everything to do with the prices of what they can buy it at in the warehouse and get it at and sell it at.
The pass along. That's the thing that we're always talking about, where people are like, I'm not going to raise my prices. It's like, okay, well, there were certain companies I won't name, but last year did like 3 or 4 price increases in 1 year, which is like unheard of. Stack ladders is one of those where there's only one company in the game anymore, and they're raising the prices. I mean, that prices have gone up like $300 for a complete in the past probably 12, 18 months. Like, that's pretty nuts.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it is what it is. You got to do it. So
if you're watching, by the way, I'm watching the numbers and everything. Give us a thumbs up if you haven't given SteveO a thumbs up yet. And if you haven't subscribe to him. He's a little up and coming YouTuber,
Need help.
He's just trying to get some traction.
Need help. Need a lot of help. You know what? On a serious note though, of if you are really into YouTube, and we should start doing this actually with WCR's channel. YouTube Shorts. YouTube Shorts get so much traction.
Yeah.
More than actual YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Like YouTube, and that's the key of like TikTok, of what TikTok has done.
I was just going to say, you know why they're doing that.
Yeah, exactly. So I put on stuff now of everyone puts thumbs up in the comments, of shorts like and man, they get crazy views, and that's something you could do if you are a creator, just to kind of like Instagram stories is huge. I've been starting to do a lot more like story stuff, Facebook stories, and that is actually way more. What's the word for it? Like people will really like click on that way more than just like a post. Like they know you're going to post. They don't always know like what's in the story. Like it's just your little thing going down. Oh, Sean Johnson, you gave me a thumbs down. What is the deal, man? Why? Hey, you know what's really funny? YouTube's gotten really fragile, and that you no longer see your dislikes. It's great.
Isn't it? I think that's kind of, I mean, you go on YouTube to find out if you like something, you're like, oh, there's 50,000 up, thumbs up. And then you realize there was like 400,000 downs because it's all wrong information. But
dude, I think it's so dumb. Like that should be totally allowed to see how many dislikes you get. It's too fragile, man. It's too fragile. It's not fun. I'm kind of sad that Sean gave you some thumbs down. Do you think he spells his name wrong? Then he gave us a punch, a flex, and a. But
did he though, or did he say he could fight you because you're weak?
Well,
I'm just saying.
I don't know. I don't know Sean. So yeah.
KT is here with the one clip. Thank you.
Why do people do this?
Thank you for representing.
I don't get it.
I love it so much. I
don't know, man. Oh, Sean's on my side. 2 clips.
He spells his name wrong. I mean,
he does it. That's the way that was given to him at birth. It's right. That is it. But hey,
can I ask you a quick question? Does your wife do anything that if you see that it just drives her nuts a little bit, it gives you a little bit of joy when things happen that way? Like, there's something that you do that maybe drives her nuts, and then it does happen, and like.
Yeah,
you like lock the car windows and rip one in the car as you're driving, kind of thing. That's 1 clip, 2 clip to me. Is it drives you so mad that it makes me happier than I thought it would.
Okay, Joshua just said the exact reason why that I do not do it. 2 clips, man. 1 equals rainbow. Learn my lesson. That is why. That is why you should always use 2 clips. It's always why.
Hey, it's cool. It's cool. I really like Josh. He's got a great name. And he's usually right on a lot of stuff, but not everybody can be right. I heard it. I watched some hidden video that somebody was filming of him, and he was using 1 clip. I think he just came in here on the SteveO channel and was like, 2 clips, man. Ha, buddy.
Such a shit starter.
Just saying. I get it, Josh. Hey.
But like what he says though, like it was fun until it kept happening, is exactly the way I felt about it for 2 years when I went back and forth on it.
Explain the rainbow, because you did a great video, actually. I mean, not to like really talk about real things, but like you did a great video on the rainbow, and people ask about it, but like explain it. Explain. People don't know what the rainbow is. Explain it.
A rainbow is basically when you cut into the window. Trusty. This is all my camera's gonna go crazy when I do this, so sorry, y'all. But like if you cut into a window and you move up and you come across, and as you come down, and then as you come back up here, there. So if you are a person, like when you fan in and you come across like this, and then you cut down and you really go up to grab like your entrance right here, the rainbow usually happens like right there. So basically, if you were more to create like an actual mountain and come down and leave a real good mountain, it doesn't happen. Or basically to stop it, you could use your 2-hand method and then hit with the mop. I could talk a lot about this. The biggest reason why it happens, and I have the issue on this, is that the rubber is elevated on the side. And that can happen if you put the clip in wrong. Now, with what you talk about with using 1 clip, what happens, this is such a dusty rubber. It's gross. And so if you have 1 clip in there, it actually leaves the rubber at 2 different heights on the end. So therefore, that's how a rainbow can create when you especially have 1 clip. It could still happen with 2, but it could totally happen. And since using Unger Green rubber, I hardly ever see it. A harder rubber will do better with it. A softer rubber will do worse with it. I'm not going to say the person, but I had somebody contact me and they had like a whole video and they're like, dude, what is going on here? And it was rainbows, but they were just using a soft rubber on a warm day. And I can see you're really interested in this.
I'm pulling something out. I was trying to be slick. Dang.
But That's what rainbows are. And they basically, they're a rainbow. Like when you see it on the glass, it's a rainbow. And it's something that you don't see when you're actually like squeegeeing the window. Sometimes you can see it as you're squeegeeing. You'll see this nasty streak. Oh man, freaking reading rainbow.
Sorry, I was already saying it, and being that I'm too old to read my phone, I like was a little too obvious,
but that's what a rainbow is.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do have a video. So when I made that video was because I went to my first ever convention, and tons of people were asking about it, and I'd kind of figured it out like years before, and I think still it happens to everybody. I'm not perfect. But then I know you said it never happened to you. So, yeah.
One clip. What can I say? you said you knew it didn't happen to you because you're not perfect. Well, no, you know what I thought was the best part about that video is that you captured it on, like, if I right now was like, oh, this is a problem, let me show you, I would not be able to make a rainbow. Like, not for the life of me, in the right camera angles, and like, it just happened to work exactly perfect on that exact window that you could make it happen on camera. Yeah. It's like bringing your car to a mechanic and being like, there's this noise. And they're like, I don't hear the noise. You know, it was that exact thing. That's why I thought that was so epic.
Yeah. But it's like, I see everybody do it. Everyone that I've ever worked with, leave them. And I got to a point though, where I said to myself, I was like, cause I used to be such an overly anal about people fanning correctly. And when I was like a manager, I was such a dick about things. Like I was like, you have to do it this way. Anymore,
I remember the story.
Yeah. And anymore, I'm just more like, hey, man, the window looks good. The customer's happy. I'm happy. They're happy. I've never heard a customer. I only had one customer ever mention it. And out of all my years. So I really don't worry about it much anymore.
Yeah. But any rainbows that do happen, have you ever seen them dry poorly?
Yeah. That's the thing.
Poorly.
That's the thing, is that they dry poor. That's the biggest thing about them, is that when they dry, and you can only catch it at certain angles. That's the thing. Like, are you like, every time that you've ever said to a customer, hey, you know, there's probably a markup on that window, or there's something there, unless they're an extremely anal customer, they're always like, hey, it looks awesome. Like, it looks so. I look
through the.
Yeah.
They look through the window, not at the window. Yeah.
Yeah. If you got a customer looking at the window at every single angle, you just get ready, because that customer is never going to be happy with what you do. You know, they're the type of customer that doesn't understand a broken seal. Yeah. You know, so like,
they're the ones that find one like bug or something on one window and then go back and like purposely find something on every window because they're like, this guy's scamming me.
Yep, exactly. So that's what a rainbow streak is. And yeah.
By the way, to Joshua, I do not clean windows anymore. I have not owned a window cleaning company now for like 2 years, 3 years. I sold my company, had a buyout. So I was like a consultant for my business for 4 years, but I have not cleaned a window in a while.
Is your old business still intact, or what's going on with it? Don't know. Yeah.
Legally, it is still a business. Yes.
Okay. Nice. It's still registered?
Yes. You know, when you sell a business, the happy, sad thing is like a kid. I always tell people, like, business in general is like a kid. Like, when you first have a business, you have to literally do everything for that business, because it's like on the verge of like sticking its finger in a light socket. You know, so you're like always there. And then eventually it gets a little easier. And then all of a sudden it gets into like high school, where all of a sudden teenagers, it like drives you nuts. You hate business almost, because the business is so, you know, and then all of a sudden you fall back in love with it. And then all of a sudden it gets married off and somebody else buys it. Well, when it gets married off to somebody else, then it's their problem, but yet you still care about it. Kind of that same thing. So
anybody that I've talked to and asked them, like in a situation like you, where they have owned like a very large window cleaning business and sold it off, and they're doing something else, kind of like what you're doing now, and you ask them, would you go back to ever having a business again at the growth that you have it? I've never had anyone say yes.
Yeah.
No one.
I really loved the position I was in and everything, but I moved, and I knew I was going to move because I was in Wisconsin, where at least you guys get some sun every now and then. But like, I remember it being June. It was like June 7th. And I was still wearing a Carhartt on top of my hoodie, which I always did. And I remember walking up to my building, we had a building there. And I'm walking up to my like office and taking my coat off and like, oh, this is so great. And then like literally thinking in my head, like we've not gone to trick or treat sometimes because, you know, it's sleeted. So I'm like, oh, this is like 3 months of this. So I was like, oh, I got to do something because it's just not working. And then I didn't want to be an absentee owner. So when I left, I just sold it to my operations dude who knew everything anyway. So it was a really, really good kind of thing. But I still get to stay in the industry, which is great.
Right. Now, hey, I got a quick question because I think you would be a good person to answer this. And I know you read some good amount of books. KT's window cleaning. Can you recommend any good motivational / marketing / sales books?
Yes. The last bit, let's see. So I'm a big fan of Cardone stuff, not because I listen to him, but it's like it's the psychologically understanding what people are saying when they're saying it.
Right.
That's what I really like about it. But his stuff's pretty rough. I also like Profit First, of course. That's like a good book. I read a lot of stuff that like no one would ever hear of either, and like, you know, like just something that seems relatively interesting, I would like read up on.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nice. Hey, look at Joshua gave you you are a great jersey. Much appreciated in the industry.
Thank you, Josh. He's got to make up for Sean and Jacob.
All right, here's another good question from Craig. Why do all the guys who are really successful with window cleaning sell their business and sell window cleaning equipment? Oh, I didn't read all that equipment.
So, yeah, so of all the people who are super successful and have sold their business and sell window cleaning equipment, I don't know who you're talking about because I'm the only person I know of that has sold a window cleaning company to sell window cleaning equipment other than like Chris and Alex, I guess.
Yeah, because I would say, yeah, I mean, like they did.
John Lee owns his company.
Yeah.
You know, Craig cleans.
Yep.
So
I don't think I could ever really see me stopping cleaning. I think I'll always keep that going because I just like the physicality of getting out there, and I just like it. Like like it's not a job to me at all. Yeah. And I like, for me, like my sales kind of standpoint is knowing the products. Like that's always been like my thing, and that started from the day I started window cleaning. Like I was always just heavily interested in the products, and so like that's where my kind of like sales kind of works out. Is I just enjoy knowing about it. If I was a car salesman, I want to know every single thing about a car so that I could sell it well, because I could be able to explain every single thing in that car to be able to give you like the insurance that like that's what you want to get. You know, so that's where it is for me. But I don't think I'll ever sell unless I've been asked to already sell my business locally, just for like the name and the car and the website and stuff. But there's just no way I would do it.
Interesting story, and I don't think Chris is here right now anyway, but I almost bought All County when he was selling it. My plan was I was going to move to New Jersey, like move my whole family to New Jersey and do it there. Yeah.
Wow.
When I just decided I didn't want to move from like crap weather to crap weather. But yeah, I mean, the same thing with them. There's a lot of people, if you do think about people who have sold their companies, is Kurt Kempton did that. Josh Latimer did that. I think Vaughn still owns his, but like a lot of these guys that are like bigger names, you know, in business, you kind of get a little bit of ADD inside of business, but then there's people like you who just really just enjoy what you do. And even if you sold your business, you'd probably start another one doing the exact same thing a couple years later. Cause it's like your passion when you started wasn't business. Your passion was cleaning windows, but how do you make more money cleaning windows? You do it for yourself. Right. So there's two different sides of that. There's some people who are just passionate about business. Like I knew when I started, I had my business for 16 years. Like when I started it, that was to start a business, not to start a window cleaning business. Does that make sense? I've always had businesses, like little businesses here and there, and it just merged into that. And it was a great industry, and I love the industry, obviously. But like that was more my focus. So I told you, I did one job without an employee. And after my first route job I ever did, I hired somebody because I knew that I wanted to like run it as a business. I wasn't just in it because I love the window cleaning side of it. Just that, you know.
I like in high school, I did, I think a lot of people probably did this, but lawn mowing. Like I did lawn mowing every summer. But the weird thing about me, this is going to sound really, really weird. I love the smell of fresh cut grass. And then that like that weird gas smell just reminded me of like summertime, and like I loved every summer getting out there and cut lawns. It was because I grew up, my brother did it, my other brother did it, and it was like really cool to see. So like that's why I got into it. But for me, it was always about the work. Like coming home exhausted from the work was always like one of my favorite things. Is now like doing sales, you don't quite get that physical exhaustion, but you get that mental exhaustion for sure, where you have to like really like, all right, I need to like separate myself for a little bit and just like take some time, which is different. It took a while to get used to.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a different thing. And I see a bunch of these comments that are coming up are super awesome. It's exactly it. Like some people are like more the business side of it. And some people are like, you love to get your hands dirty, to do what you do. Like you love that side of it more, where even in lawn care, you may not have been like, oh man, I can't wait to design my logo, you know, where some people get in for the business side of it, you know, and there's business entrepreneurs that everybody knows that some guy who saw this, you know, lighting manufacturer was a good business. So he bought that business and knows nothing about it, but he, you know, like there's those type of people. So it takes kind of all kinds. And I think that you see some people who are lifers because they love the industry, they love doing it. And then there's people who sell because they love business, and then their minds get onto something else. And Kurt's got Response a bit, you know, Josh Latimer's got Conquer, like they kind of do it that way. So
yeah, I know a couple local like lifers who like they could totally leave the business, or they could totally like not be in the field and just run the business from their office, but they just choose not to. It's just like in their blood that they have to be out there working, and they'll work in the worst of it, but they take good breaks too at the same time, you know, let the business run. But we could go on about that forever. But let's see. Chris Simmons had a good question. Springtime is awesome, but it seems easy to overbook days/weeks. What's a good strategy when you overbook yourself and realize there's no availability for makeup work or rainouts? Oh man, that's hard. I mean, I've done this, and when it's happened, I just worked. Oh, gosh, I usually don't like working weekends, but I usually scheduled Saturdays anyways. I would work Sundays if I needed to. That's just a really hard thing. Sometimes if you have really cool customers that you know would be cool with it, I would give them a call and just be straight up and honest and be like, hey, I overbooked. Any way you'd like to move? And hopefully some of them would like to move. That's easier around times when you don't have like Easter or graduation or July 4th coming up. When you have holidays coming up, it really sucks because those people are like, oh, I'm getting my windows clean on July 2nd, July 4th, you know, I'm having a party. So that's a hard time. But most of the other time of the year, I think something that like I learned from somebody in this industry was that like people are quite understanding once you just really like talk to them. Yeah. And I think that's something that you could just do with those type of people is be like, hey, I messed up. Like I overbooked. Or if you got a local buddy or you got a local, you know, window cleaner that can help that maybe doesn't have as much work as you, call them in, get them to help you. I've done that for sure.
One of the biggest things that you'll understand in business ever, I think, is that people don't ever get mad at you. They just get mad that they're understanding, or they're I'm having a brain fart of the word. They're not meeting expectations is what it is. So if you break something and you don't tell somebody, they're like, oh crap, right? They get super angry. But if you go to them right away and you're like, hey, this is what happened. Now they see, okay, this happened, you know, break or whatever. If you get into Windows and, you know, something isn't perfect, or again, you tell them I can't clean because this is happening. Like you've then created their expectations, you know, pressure washing. Every job I've ever pressure washed ever, we always would say, just so you know, pressure washer, as awesome as it is, doesn't make things brand new, but it's going to look really, really good. And people are like, why would you tell them that? It's because I've never once, not once, ever in all the years had a callback on a pressure washing job, because I tell them, hey, set your expectations. It's not going to be perfect. It's that same exact concept. In if you overbook yourself, if you say, hey, just so you know, I know we had all this set up. I'm so sorry. We overbooked. This is what happened, you know, with the rain and everything. And you let them know in enough time. That's their expectation. That's what they're thinking. And then it softens the blow. It's the people who don't say anything and all of a sudden send an email because they don't like confrontation the day of the service and like, hey, sorry, we can't make it. Those are the ones because I was expecting you to be here and you just pissed me off.
Yeah. I love the client that calls you and they say, so when you get done, are my windows going to look brand new? And it's like, well, let's talk about like, okay, so usually I said to her on the phone, I said, usually I wouldn't like talk about this like on the phone the first time because I haven't met you and we've already scheduled the job. But the thing you got to think about is that your windows could have broken seals. It's not a brand new house. And you start going through all those things. So I always tell them like, don't expect everything to be perfect. Like there could be stuff that could happen. Like it's just not a good expectation to have.
The truth of it is, in any type of cleaning, it's not new, right? No matter what you do, I'm going to clean it and it's going to look really good. And it's going to look a lot better than it does now, but it's not going to look perfect. And people who come on and go, oh, everything looks perfect. Well, then you have the right setup, and I get that. But, if you set that and you tell people, like, when I'm done, it's going to look perfect. If there's one spot out of there, that's what's interrupted and disturbed their whole expectations. And now they're going to leave you a review.
Yeah. It's I would say too, like with Chris Simmons' questions about like overbooking is easier when like Jim and I, like we used to overbook all the time, but somehow it always worked out.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy thing. Like I would look at a day and I'd be like, there's no freaking possible way that we are going to get through this day. Every single time it worked out. Yeah. Whether it was, if you do have two crews, one crew got done early, boom, they come help the other crew and you get out of there. But I think I'm more on the scale of like spring, summer, fall, expect to work from like sun up, sundown. I don't really like the theory of like, oh, I'm going to get to work at 8 and I'm going to get off at 4. Yeah. That may be like more of like a style of saying like you might get overworked, but man, if you have the hours and you have the sunlight available, especially though, like in Colorado where we have our winter, like we know we're going to have a break. That's a little harder, I think, like in warmer states. But man, if you got the time, like push, see what you can do. And that is easier with crews than by yourself. That is for sure.
Yeah. Well, we're squirrels. You got to get it while you can for when you don't, But that's one thing, and I'm kind of on the opposite. Again, you love doing the work. I loved having the business. My side was always that I was done. I said 5, but I end up getting home 5:36, right? But I always say like we're done at that time. We're done at that time, and we work our hours. We don't work weekends. We don't work holidays because I want some structure. But then the benefit to that, on top of it, is that when we do, there was lots of times our guys worked past dark. There was times where one crew's bringing another crew a bunch of halogens because they're finishing up on this big commercial project. And the reason was that we could catch up on those instead of overbooking or having some issues because we kind of accidentally worked that into the thing by saying we're done at 5 every day. If I got to work to 10 one time because things just got out of hand, or I don't work weekends, but yet 3 times a year, somehow we find ourselves working a weekend, it's kind of because of that was built in. All accidental, but kind of worked.
Right. No, exactly. Well, I got a good question here to change topics a little bit. Squeegee rubbers. So hiking, that's your name. Temp range with soft, medium, and hard rubbers. I don't think there's really could be like temperature specific. Anything below freezing, soft's going to do really good. So like I was talking to someone recently, Mormon NXT rubber. I think that's the best for under freezing in my opinion. And then anything medium, I consider Ettore Master Rubber to be more of a medium. That's really medium. You could really do all weather. I really think that hard. Unger hard is super, super hard. That can be for like really hot temps. And then pretty much so anything summer, you can pretty much use hard rubber.
Explain to me this, because I cleaned, and people don't know about Wisconsin. It's probably like Colorado, where we have, hundreds, triple digits with the wind, with the heat index and stuff. But the amount of rubber that touches the glass is so little. People are like, oh yeah, I want hard because it's better. It gets, the soft is too sticky than on the glass, but it's such a small amount. Do you feel, I mean, you already said you did basically, but like anybody watching, do you feel like that really makes a difference? Because I hate hard rubber in the hot. I hate it in the cold. It just feels like gas station rubber. I don't know.
Now, are you talking specific about like a certain brand of rubber? Because there's some like
I am not going to mention, but yes.
Okay. Yeah. So like I would say I got a pack of like 22-inch hard Unger rubbers a year and a half ago, and I've only used one. And it was just because it was so hard that I was like, it's not even, I have to put pressure. It just feels like I'm putting a lot of pressure to like make it work. I just didn't like the feel of it. Where Ettore Master, always good, no matter really what. Bleeds quite a bit in the wintertime, but it works pretty good. And then Unger Green's a really weird one with silicone and stuff that it works really good in most temps except for freezing. But yes, I would say that you can feel it even in those small bit of areas that the Squeegee Touch dry glass.
Did you ever use Black Diamond Hard?
I don't think so.
No. That was, I don't think they had it out too long. I think they got a lot of complaints about it right away and went to medium. But I don't think I even used it.
Was that the red for a little bit?
No, that was Ruby Red. That was a silicone blend again, but the formula is something they didn't like and they stopped it. So
Yep. Because I did use that and it wasn't a great experience, but I also don't like facelift red rubber, which a lot of people like that too.
You like the NXT though?
I like the NXT in freezing weather. I don't like the NXT in any other weather. Here's
another question for you and anybody who wants to answer a question in the comments. Do you like the green rubber for the price?
Oh yeah, oh, day and night. I would buy a gross of that if I could, and I would pay $800 for 100.
I was just gonna say, what if you had to pay like regular people prices and not SteveO the window cleaner prices?
I don't get a discount. What are you talking about?
It's a perk. Yeah. You're like those like race car guys that have like the Red Bull vending machine in their house that they just come fill. Yeah. Like that's what it is.
I wish I had a dispenser that just dispensed out green rubber, just boom, and resin that just came out and flowed like a snow cone. It'd be amazing. It'd be the greatest thing. But see, like a lot of people saying green is great, but then I've had other people like exactly desired effects cleaning, love-hate relationship with the green rubber. I have had a couple bad batches on the green rubber. And that kind of worked its way out. And I haven't had one since, but I had a couple bad batches where it was just like every single one of them was extra weird. But like, what does that? Like, we would have to have Casper on here to really explain like what would be the difference in a squeegee rubber that would, I don't know.
I think in a blend too, the only time I've ever had bad rubber was, and again, I won't tell a brand, but there was a batch of rubbers that were cut wrong. And I ended up buying a gross, and out of that gross, which just happened to be in the thing of all the bad rubbers, I got a gross of probably, I would say probably 60 of the rubbers, I would say, were bad. And they were like the rubber, instead of going straight, actually went like this. Like it was like, wow. Like here's your bead, and the bottom rubber went like this and was like literally, I mean, almost like something in the machine had broken and they didn't catch that. But other than that, like the blend stuff and the rubber, I just had somebody the other day was like, I got bad rubbers. They're rotten.
Yeah.
I don't know that like rubber can really go rotten, but like.
It's a weird thing. And I've seen the same thing with some companies where on the bottom of the round part, they leave some extra rubber on one side and it makes that rubber arc on one side compared to the other side. It makes, tons of things can happen with it, really.
There's a good question from Josh. Did you see that one?
Yeah. Read it. Go ahead.
Do you trim your rubber or buy new rubber? Have y'all use the rubber trimmer? Is it worth it?
So I do trim all my rubber down. So if I start with like an 18, I trim that down to a 14. That goes into a 10 or a 12. Then that goes into a 6.
I think he's talking about the docket.
Well, there's okay. Oh. No, I have not used the docket.
By the way, because a lot of people don't know what you're doing, that's actually like a smart trick, because in rubbers, the part that fails first is always going to be the sides. Yeah. So if you cut those sides off, all of a sudden you're back to, it's not quite perfect in the middle either, but it's like a lot better. You can cut it down. So,
yeah, I have not used the Sorbo docket. I'm sure it's great. But yeah, I just haven't done it. I guess with squeegee rubbers, when I look at the price compared to how much you get out of that, it's just like.
And with the Sorbo, if you look at Sorbo, and I wish I had a channel here, but I think I brought them all with. But if you look at Sorbo's whole system was designed around the docket. So if you see the notches where people are like, oh, it's because if you go more, it gets soft. It's not really about that. Exactly. You're removing a piece with the docket, which means you move it to the next slot. You remove it. You can actually cut a rubber 3 or 4 times, 3 times. Anyway.
12. That's what 3x4 means, is you get 12 rubbers out of one rubber.
Yeah. So that's what the whole system really was originally for. So the docket, you can cut regular rubber. If anybody knows, I won't even say his name, but a good customer, great guy out in Minnesota. He just bought a docket to try to modify it to cut regular rubbers, and literally said, I modified nothing. It works perfectly. And he just went through and cut like 3 gross of rubber. He had a guy in there for one day just cutting rubber. It wasn't a whole day, but he said it worked pretty good. Like every like 15th to 20th rubber, something would go weird, but he said it worked pretty well.
Dang. Yeah, I mean, and someday I probably want to get one, but I think by even cutting the rubbers down to different sizes, you get so much good use out of them that at that point it's like, wow, like, I can get a lot of good use out of these. Now, Craig asked, what tool did you initially hate or dislike, and then later you tried it again and discovered you like it now? Jersey, what tool what tool is that for you?
So I will put it out there that there are tools I don't like, and I'm not ashamed to say that I don't like them. Not as much as Mr. SteveO, who is more vocal on the tools he doesn't like. But I really, really, really didn't like the accelerator when it came out. Because, like, it was, I mean, Wagtail's always there. I always hated Wagtail. I still hate Wagtail. Sorry if you're a Wagtail fan. But when accelerator came out, it just was, like, weirdly hokey. Like, and people still say about the, like, plastic in the thing. My first impression just made me not like Mormon at all. And then I started using it more, and I've played with it, and I've had them, and I do really like them. I think you still got to get used to them and everything, but I really went from not liking it at all to liking it.
Yeah. I don't know what tool for me that really, you know what?
I think you've gone more, you really liked a tool until you didn't like it.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, actually, when I first started using water-fed pole, I hated it. I'll be honest, but that was only because I was trained poorly on how to use it, and all I was seeing was bad results. So that would be for me, like definitely water-fed pole. When I first started using it, the results that I saw that people were getting, I was like, dude, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? And then to go to now, I'll use it on like anything and love it.
Yeah.
Like, that for me is the number one.
Yeah. I was regrettably that guy who bought the system, used it like 2 times, is like, this is stupid, and it sat in my garage for like 6 months. And the reason is because I bought the wrong system, because I was like everybody, I was the cheap guy who's like, I bought a DI tank, and I literally, my first DI tank, the second job I ever did, I went through 3/4 cube of resin in 7 hours. I was not only on the bad side of town where my water wasn't good anyway, I was on a well. I was literally across the street from city water, and I didn't know it was in a retirement community. It's like $180 in resin I burned through in like 7 hours. That's like, what? This is so stupid. Well, it's because I got the wrong system, so it was my fault. But I just like angrily like huffed and put it away. And I also had like an old, I think it was what was it? Excel pole. I think it was an Excel. It was like the worst flappy, like it was the worst pole I've ever had. It was like fiberglass, and the thing literally you could go like this, and like it would almost bend all the way down and hit the ground. Like it was like the most floppy pole. So admittedly, it was my fault.
Yeah, that happens though. That happens. All right, one more or another couple good questions. Mike Dawes, how do you remove cement off frames from post-construction cleaning? You almost answered the question in that question, and it's called cement off. And it's from Titan, and that would be your best one. It does take a while to work, but that would be your best way to do it from what I would tell you to do.
If it's on frames, you don't have much of a choice.
Yeah. Yep. Frames are very easy to damage. Anytime people see me all the time, how do I get paint off frames? How do I do this? And it's like, man, like frames just suck. Like they're just not fun. It's just
you're going to charge for it though. You're in restoration. Like I've heard people say that, like when I go clean stuff, I'm cleaning the window. Paint is not cleaning. That's removing a restoration. And I get that. But that's the thing. If you're doing hard water removal, or if you're doing paint or concrete or anything, it sucks, but you're paying for it.
Here's a good question for you, Jersey, from Mike. This is from Sherwood. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Will soft water work in lieu of DI water?
Soft water is different than DI water. So DI, well, there is no such thing as DI water, really. It's pure water. Like you're talking about TDS, how many total dissolved solids there are. In soft water, you can soften water by adding salt. That's a salt softener. Well, you're adding lots of minerals because of the salt. So that's not soft like you think. It's a soft water, but it's not pure. So no, it's not the same thing.
Yeah. And then Name Brand Radio have you ever ran into a window you couldn't clean, not including hard water or stains? I got to figure out this dang can. It pisses me off every time.
I have not. I mean, I had one time that drove me. I literally spent like an hour one time because it was a good customer, but it was a tint thing. I didn't know there was a coating. They had a failing tint. And I'm like, what is this? And it ended up being that the tint itself had started like getting micro fissures in it or whatever. And I couldn't, my brain wasn't wrapping around that it was the coating. I thought it was the glass.
Yeah. But as far as a window that I can never clean, I don't think I've never come across, especially if you're not putting in hard water or that. I've always been able to get to a window no matter what. I remember a house that we did once where I had like 30-foot pole fully extended with the Mormon accelerator squeegee, and there was no way to ladder up to it. And that was a good one to clean.
Oh, I see. I read the question wrong. I was thinking about like it just wouldn't come clean, but you're talking about you can't get to the window.
I believe that's what he's talking about. Yeah.
I've had those. And our rule was there's no window worth your life. So anything that there was, it was too bad, we would blanch it. And it was called Blanche because one of our customers' names was Blanche. And she was like this crazy old lady who was just like, whatever, like, F it, But anyway, we would go to somebody's house and say, hey, just, this dormer window, I know it's in the attic or whatever, but for us to get up there, it's just unsafe. And I know you don't want to pay us the amount of money we'll need to get that to be safe. So we're just going to leave that one off, but I want to let you know. Again, set their expectations. And they're like, cool with it. They're like, yeah, I don't want you dying. I don't care.
Yeah, that's true. Most customers are really cool about that. I've only had one customer ever say to me when he was trying to get me to clean his gutters, and it was like, there was no reason to do it. And he's like, but you're a window cleaner. You're not scared of heights. I don't understand why you can't just get on the roof and clean the gutters. And I'm like, dude, look at like the grade of your roof is insane. Like, I'm not doing it. No one's going to do it. He's like, well, I got a rope and harness. I can hold you. Dude, this guy was like 75 years old, maybe 140 pounds soaking wet. I was like, no, man, no, that's not going to happen. And he eventually the next time fired us because he just didn't like us. But that's
I'm not scared of heights, but I have a healthy respect for them. That's like, there's a thing. If you get me with a vac up there or something and you want to pay for that, awesome. I can do it, but you're going to have to pay me to do it safely. And you're not going to want to do that.
Yeah. From KD Window Clean, have you ever used belay glasses? I have not.
I have, and I get motion sick anyway, and they make me want to throw up.
I bet. Yeah. I've never used them myself, but for me, I'll have to use them to know. I'll have to use them sometime.
You know what I did too, though, is I leaned back instead of like just looked up. But I'm also weird. Like, this is the first time I sat down during dinner, but this is the first time I sat all day. I stand. I don't even have a chair at my desk. I stand for 9 hours of my day every day.
I have a desk where I can stand, yet I sit in this freaking chair like way too much. It's something I gotta get better at, but sometimes it's nice. It's nice to sit.
It's really nice.
Yes. Well, let me check through here. Are there any good ass questions? Oh, here's a good one. All right, from Alex Trace. Is there a trick to using the Univalve? When I pull the line, it will flow water, but when I let it go, it stops. It's not maintaining flow. I feel like it's user error. The first biggest thing about the Univalve, there's a really good video from Alex Lamborghinis. If you search Univalve installation from Window Clean Resource, where it's the best video out there as far as it. The biggest thing is that the part that you pull must go towards the bottom of the pole. So like when you pull that's the part. If it's at the top, it will not work very well. One other thing that you can do to make it trigger better is actually take away the low profile clamp that it comes with. Take that, instead of having that where the hose comes out and then goes into your brush, put the smallest hose clamp you can find at a local hardware store and snip off the extra little bit. And that creates like a larger area in that hole. And so when you tug on it, it never ever slips through that profile clamp. So that's what I do on all my pulls. And I've never had a problem since, but I did have a problem just using the low profile clamps.
You also can't use that thing above like 40 feet really. Because you get too much stretch and it just doesn't work. And then that's what sounds like he's happening is like he can get pulled, but it's not enough to engage it. And he might just have too much hose in there. It's really designed for a little bit shorter. And then another thing is if you hate the Univalve and it's not working, it's because your flow may be too high. Like if you're running DI and you're just blasting water through there, if you have too much flow, your Univalve won't work.
That's true. Yep. Yeah. So, but yeah, if you if I'm going to put the Univalve at the bottom of my pole, I might as well just use a normal. Yeah, you wouldn't put a Levi, you wouldn't put a Univalve at the bottom of your pole. It's all about, if you only run your hose inside your pole, that's what a Univalve is all about. If you run it exterior, there's no reason to have it. I mean, if you're running exterior, if you need to shut off your water, just kink it with your hand. That's going to be the fastest thing to do. Or if you want to put an inline shutoff valve or use the little valve before your hose from the system. But that's what I would suggest.
Look at Ryan Fuster, Mr. Thumbs Up, by the way, just bragging. He's like, I got 3 Univalves. I don't even use them.
Ryan's got so much stuff, man. No one even knows. No one even knows.
He's on every video ever made for window cleaning. I don't know how he finds them. He must just search and thumbs up all of them. I don't know how.
Next, yes. And you know what? I saw him on somebody that I found, and I want to say this gentleman is in Japan. Next time we're on here, somebody mentioned this, and I'm going to put some I'm going to highlight this guy's channel. There's this guy in Japan who's been putting out videos. He bought a Destroyer and stuff. Dude, this guy is the best window cleaner I've ever seen. Really? As far as just freaking skill. And he uses every tool out there, man. I've had people message me recently like, dude, all right, I'm going to try the liquidator again. This guy makes it look easy. And they probably get liquidated and they're like, oh, I still hate it. But, dude, this guy is super, super good. And all he does is videos of just cleaning. And, man, he's awesome. So, but it takes back to Ryan because I saw Ryan like thumbs up on there. I was like, I knew Ryan would find this guy.
Have you seen the fish dude who he asked me to just duet him and he didn't turn his duet on TikTok, but he washes like route windows on a hoverboard thing.
Oh yeah, he talked a lot of shit to me actually through direct messages, and I blocked him.
Oh well, never mind. Okay.
Yep.
Well, I don't want to talk about him then.
Last question here from Chris Simmons. SteveO, do you still carry your large belt setup on roofs and ladder work? Just seems like a lot of stuff for those situations. Yes. Yep. I wear my belt on everything that I do. I don't wear my belt when I'm using water-fed pole at all. If I need to have a scraper on me or something like that, I always take my silencer off so I don't have all that. But yeah, I do. I will wear that everywhere. And I know it seems like a little much, and that's where I kind of talked about that in my belt videos, that it is a lot. And I even had one time where I went into there was this place that we did where they did like physical therapy. And the lady's like, man, that's a lot to have. She goes, do you have like lower back issues? I was like, yep, yes, I do. She's like, well, it's probably because of your belt. I was like, probably is. So it's now good that I only work 2 days a week.
I heard that Batman is actually jealous of how much stuff you have on your belt.
Oh, vengeance. Okay.
I knew a guy way back when. This is like one of the biggest internet trolls of all time, and I hate his guts, and I literally hope he stubs his toe every day for the rest of his life. But he carried so much crap. He carried a pole. He literally made a pole so he could carry it on his belt. It was on the back of his belt. He had a pole on him at all times. On top of everything else, he had like 6 pouches, bottles of solution, bottles of water, bottles of like all this stuff. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, you crinkle when you walk, man. You got too much stuff on there.
Yeah, I remember seeing a guy downtown in the town I grew up in, and he literally had a 36-inch squeegee, like a samurai, like on his back, like that he could pull. I was like, that just seems like such overkill. Like, to me, that was overkill. Yeah, like a Rambo ammo, like shoulder strap with a squeegee in it.
Channel, yeah. No, do you want to know something? We had the longest squeegee channel ever made, which it's really any because they get caught, but I think it was 6 feet long or something. We were sending it to one of the shows and it got lost. So somewhere out in the world is a 6-foot channel. It's like
somebody's got it, and that's a Red Slayer. Is that what it is?
Probably, or one of those like off-brand ones. Yeah, but
yep, yeah.
It's who like you still got to put rubber in these giant ones, you know.
Past 18 anymore. I don't even go past 18. The only large squeegee that I've used that works really well is the Sorbo Eliminator. That is actually a super smooth, large, and it's because he put that whole entire brace. And I mean, it's designed perfectly for what it is. The silicone rubber works awesome in that for straight pulls. I mean, that is a great, if you ever want a large squeegee, that is the squeegee to pick.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for tonight. It's over an hour, so that's it. But we'll be back. We'll be very good about every 2 weeks from here on out for a very long time. Unless something, do you have something, Jersey?
I was just gonna say, if you haven't liked SteveO's channel, first off, why are you here if you haven't liked it and followed it? You should follow him. He's gonna be bigger than the Japanese guy.
Oh, well, you know, he's still pretty small, but
definitely like him. And yeah, follow me on TikTok because I'm trying to get TikTok peeps.
Yes. Where are you at? How many followers now?
I'm at like 570, which is, you know.
Yeah, well, you got 51,500 to go. Catch up to me, Mr. Man.
Yeah, but how many of those people that like you are real window cleaners, really?
Yeah, those people aren't even real. They're probably fake people, so that's it. Yeah.
We could do a whole nother show on how TikTok is fake, just so you know.
Oh, we can. We'll get
TikTok views. I'm 99.9% sure they're complete bull.
Oh yeah. If you click on some of the people that will follow you and look at their profiles, it's not real people. It's just not. There's a lot of conspiracy behind TikTok, but we can get into that. Next video will be exactly 2 weeks from tonight, so that would be April 25th. So we'll be back then.
Cool.
Peace.